What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more preview streams for you guys. It is FA Cup weekend and we have Preston away, 6 o'clock kickoff tomorrow at Deepdale. And it's going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, Preston, they've been very up and down this season. Obviously, as KPV is going to call it, the Troy Parrott derby. He's been on loan there for the season this year. He has had his injury problems, just about getting back, and he's starting to make a couple of appearances as a substitute. Obviously, he's not going to be allowed to play because of because he's being cup tied, seeing as well he can't play against his parent club, that is Tottenham Hotspur. But let's get into the match preview. Sim, what does the FA Cup mean to you, Sim? Are you excited for the FA Cup?
I am, only because it's a trophy which has seeped in history for Spurs. You know, it's mad to think about before Enoch came. I think we were second, or I think we were second for FA Cups, or maybe even top for FA Cups.
I think
when Enoch.
Yeah, I think we might have been top. We were the first team to win the FA Cup 8 times.
Yeah, I think we were top, and then obviously Arsenal now are well ahead. I think we might be,
and Chelsea and everyone else.
I think Wolves 8 is still what must be in the top 4, isn't it? I would say
top 5 for sure.
So I think like it's a competition which does mean a lot to Tottenham fans. I would love to win the FA Cup, but unfortunately, in modern day football, it's just the harsh realities of modern day football. When back in the day, you know, one of your main revenue streams was winning a cup competition, would get you a lot of money. It would be a substantial difference. Winning the FA Cup doesn't, in terms of, obviously it's great to win a trophy, but in terms of making a difference to clubs on a footballing scale, financial scale, it gets you glory, but doesn't get you much else in this day and age. So the importance isn't quite as much as it used to be. That's how it is, unfortunately.
It's true. In terms of the question before, Arsenal on 14, Man United on 12, Chelsea, Spurs and Liverpool all on 8.
So joint third.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not bad. Considering we haven't won for 30 years.
Nuts. It's nuts to think
crazy.
about it, because back then Spurs were like a real cup side. You know,
when was the last? That was also the last time we got to a final
of the FA Cup. Yeah,
was when we won it.
Yeah,
we haven't always been to what, 8 semi-finals.
No, I think we got to the final in '94, '95. Didn't we lose in that year in '95 or something?
Wasn't it a semi?
Oh, we lost to Everton in the semis. Yeah,
semi.
Right, yeah.
I think it was the last time we got to a final. FA Cup final was '91, which is
disgraceful. Really,
crazy.
It's disgraceful when you look at the traditions of Spurs in the FA Cup and how many times we have won it. We've been so close as well. How many semi-finals have we been in the past 10 years where, you know, you thought maybe we should have won that game. Even that Chelsea game when we lost by quite a big scoreline, I think, was it 4-2 or something in the semi-final against Chelsea. We should have won that game. In the game against Manchester United, we should have won that game. So it's very frustrating, our run in the FA Cup, and why we've just fell short at the biggest stage every time. It's
a tough one as well, because when it comes to FA Cup, it's a great competition, and unfortunately, I think a lot of the big clubs, us included, have been guilty of not taking this cup seriously enough a lot of the time, and playing a weakened team because they want to save themselves for league games, which is more important. Obviously, we know that the hierarchy see the league is more important than the cup. But you could definitely argue, why wouldn't they? When in modern day football, unfortunately, top 4 is more important than the FA Cup. That's just reality. To fans, it might not be, but to football clubs, if you asked most hierarchies in around Europe, what would you rather, top 4 or a trophy or an FA Cup? Unfortunately, they're all going to go for top 4. That's reality.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I completely get that. But when you look at the teams that have been winning the FA Cup over the past 20 years, it's the same names that pop up every single time, right? The Man Cities, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Arsenals. And why are they keep propping up and winning the FA Cups? Because they've got squads to be equipped to playing in all different trophies throughout the year. Maybe Arsenal have been a different case over the past 10 years because they haven't been doing too well in the league, and they've won a few FA Cups along the way. But when you're looking at the other teams, it's pretty much because they've got the squad to be able to be equipped to fight on all fronts every single year. Our owners have not let us get into that moment. We've only been able to go for one thing each year kind of thing, get that top 4 thing, and that's it pretty much. We haven't had the squad to be equipped to do everything.
What top 6 clubs have won the FA Cup in recent years? There was obviously Leicester a couple of years ago. They won the FA Cup. They didn't really, I guess they didn't really kick
a top
on.
6 club though.
I'm saying what top 6 club? what outside the top 6 club? Have
Wigan,
won the FA Cup.
Leicester.
Wigan won it in 2013 and then got relegated. Leicester won it, and now they're in the bottom half.
Yeah,
Portsmouth won it and then are now in League One or League Two at the moment. Back in 2008, it doesn't. I don't think players or and also when you're judging a manager, unfortunately, when you're at a top 6 club, when you're judging a manager, FA Cup a lot of the times isn't what you're judged on. And for case in point, Man United won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal and then sacked him because he finished 5th. Yeah. Antonio Conte won the FA Cup with Chelsea, and they sacked him because he finished 5th. So these big clubs...
But then again, Arteta was kind of living off that FA Cup for 2 years.
You could argue that, but clearly there's a project there. Look, he won the FA Cup straight away, but they're not going to sack him within his first few months. He won it within his first few months, didn't he? Again, he wasn't judged on winning the FA Cup obviously he won it, but I'm saying, why would a manager seeing these things, seeing how managers are judged, top managers in top 6, why would a manager concentrate their efforts on winning an FA Cup when they know even if they don't get top 4, regardless if they win the FA Cup, there's a good chance they're going to be sacked?
Because the game is about glory and you should be going for everything. And yes, fine, top 4 and getting into the Champions League may be the priority, but it doesn't mean you completely forget about the domestic cups and trying to get cups through the door, because it's still very important in my opinion. Very important. And when you're looking at the teams, like I said, you're looking at the teams that have that win the FA Cup time and time again. It's the same teams that keep propping up, and they're all big clubs, and they're all clubs that that want success in the FA Cup. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. These are the teams that keep propping up every year, and these are the teams that we should be fighting against every year in the league and the FA Cup. And we should put our names. There's no reason why we shouldn't have won at least one FA Cup since '91. It's a disgrace, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, if you're a top-level manager, of course, it's nice to win the FA Cup. But again, these clubs that have won the FA Cup, their job is not based on whether they win the FA Cup or not.
Agreed.
So why would they bother with it? Not bother, but that's not the right word. But it's like a cherry on top kind of thing. It's not a thing they focus on. It's not a thing they don't start the season thinking we're going to win the FA Cup. We're going to go for the FA Cup. They think we're going to go for the league or go for top 4. And if an FA Cup comes along, then it's a nice cherry on top of a season. And as much as I want an FA Cup, and I think we should be taking the FA Cup very seriously, in my opinion, because we need a trophy. And I would love it if Spurs this season would put really strong lineups in all the rounds and really have a good crack at the FA Cup. But when it gets to a stage where you have an FA Cup last 16 or quarter final, and you have let's say a big league game the following week that could put you into the top 4. I think a lot of managers these days are going to rest the players in the FA Cup.
Is that right to do?
From a fan perspective, no. From me, no. I want to see you give your best in the FA Cup, and if you don't win that league game, then you can always make it up. But I can understand that a manager, if you're a top 6 manager, you're more likely to get sacked potentially if you lose that league game and don't finish where you need to in the league, rather than if you go out in the cup, you're more likely to be sacked.
So from a club perspective, would you say Spurs were right to sack Jose Mourinho then a few days before that cup final, because he was planning to rest a team for the Southampton game when there was still a chance for top 4?
No, because it's a final. Final's different. And also, I don't agree with it. I don't agree that I don't agree with the club that you should be sacrificing cup competitions so easily just to get top 4. From a club perspective, as well, we were behind top 4. We were never going to get top 4 that season anyway, so you might as well have gone do your best in the cup final. So no, I don't agree from a club perspective, because you can't. A final's different. A final's like you got one game away from winning a trophy. You can't sack a manager 6 days for a cup final just because he's intending to rest players for the league game before. But when it comes to earlier rounds and when games are congested and stuff like that, unfortunately, I understand managers resting players in the cup when the league is the priority in modern day football. It's the gateway to higher revenues, more competing with the higher clubs financially. For Tottenham, obviously, it doesn't seem to make a difference, but for other managers, I guess for me it makes sense in that sense because top four and getting in that Champions League is more important in modern day football. If you took 15 years ago, the FA Cup was probably more important, but these days it's Champions League.
Yeah.
That's the reality, and I feel like old school fans just haven't come to terms with that, unfortunately.
Does the FA Cup still hold the magic for you that maybe it did 20 years ago? Because a lot of fans, like you say, the old school fans still cling on to like saying the FA Cup still does hold that magic. But for me, I don't think it does. And I think it's like, I put the FA Cup these days on level playing field with the League Cup. I think they're pretty much the same competition now. And I think like winning the FA Cup, winning the League Cup is pretty much the same now. The
only way it does is when you see like non-league clubs or lower league clubs go on a crazy cup run. Like you saw, who was that non-league club get to the quarterfinals not so long ago? They beat Burnley and
Sutton, wasn't it?
Was it Sutton? I can't remember who it was.
Arsenal in the end.
Yeah, there was that. There were two non-league clubs actually. I remember in the last 16 of that year. We
saw what a difference it made for a club like Marine as well.
Yeah, so I think those things I still really get on board with when a League Two club, could get a massive result against a team in the Championship or the Premier League. But when it comes to top sides in the FA, like I hate it when there's a non-league side in the FA Cup and TV don't show it. Like, what is the point? That's what the FA Cup is all about. That's the point of this competition. They show like an all Premier League tie, like West Ham versus Fulham or something, and they'll put that on TV, and then there'll be a non-league team in the FA Cup, and they won't show it. And that will really frustrate me. I don't know if it's the case this round, but that would really frustrate me. 'Cause that is the magic of the FA Cup, giving the smaller teams or the lower teams a chance, a shot of glory, and getting money and attention and having their moment, because obviously the media and everything's so dominated by Premier League 24/7. The FA Cup is supposed to be a chance for these kind of clubs to have that bit of recognition. That's where the magic comes from.
But those games usually are picked for TV, aren't they?
A lot of times they're not. I mean, a lot of the times you see like there's a potential giant killing, and they just decide to play they decide to put the All Premier League tie on TV instead, and it really frustrates me. Obviously, most of the time, if a non-league team is there, they'll put it on, especially in the later rounds. But it does frustrate me sometimes when they don't put some of the lower teams on TV because they want to show the All Premier League ties. But
how high up of you as a fan, how high up should the FA Cup be this season in terms of what we should be going for, or what we should be prioritising?
Obviously, Champions League for me, from now to the end of the season, Champions League has to be our priority, in my opinion, because that's our best shot at something, at winning something massive. And although, look, you can argue, we're never going to win the Champions League, we're not good enough, blah, 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 and that's fair enough. But we got to try our best to do it, and we got to put all our eggs in that basket, in my opinion. So Champions League should be number one. And then I think FA Cup should be number two. And then the league, because we got top four last season, it didn't really make a difference. I mean, it helped us a bit, but and Champions League is important. But I think the FA Cup should be number two because we're just so desperate for a trophy. I'd rather we've been top four so often, and for me, as much as I love the Champions League, I would take 1 year being out of it and maybe being in Europa League or something with the chance of getting FA Cup. So FA Cup should be number two, and then the league, getting back into the top four, which we obviously, when we're still in that dogfight, and we got a decent chance of getting there. But that would be my third. That would be my third priority for me personally. But I know the club, it'll probably be first priority, getting back in the top four.
Yeah, I think I would still put it as third, to be honest. As much as I want to win the FA Cup, and I think it would be massive for the club to win the FA Cup this year, I'd still think I'd put it as third on my priority list, and obviously Champions League top, which is a massive long shot, then getting back into the top four, but then in the FA Cup. But still, I put them all very close to each other. You know what I mean? There's no big gap between where I want to be and where I think we should win the FA Cup. I still think it should be a very big importance to us, that's for sure. But let's move on. Let's talk about Preston now. Preston are currently 11th in their league, 11th in the Championship, but only 2 points off the playoffs. Middlesbrough in 6th and 4 points off Watford in 3rd. So they're not going too badly this year. They had a really weird start to the league where they were drawing a lot of games, winning a lot of games 1-0. I mean, I think they went through like some crazy run of games and not conceding a goal for ages. Troy Parrott's gone there, and I think he started life there pretty good, had a bit of a drop off and then got injured, and now he's back, so we've got to see how he's doing. Last 5 games, they've scored 6, let in 4, where we've scored 10 and let in 6. I mean, have you seen any of Preston this year? Have you followed Troy Parrott at all?
I've been following Troy Parrott. I always check in on him to see how he's doing. Have a gander at Preston, the results and stuff like that, and see if how much he's got on the pitch. I was watching a lot of the highlights of Preston early in the season, see how he was doing, and he seemed to be playing quite well at the beginning of the season. Very involved in a lot of their attacks. Looked confident. Scored a couple of early goals in the season. Looked like it would be a very good loan move, but unfortunately hasn't really panned out like that for Troy. Obviously, the injury not helped, but they seem to be a very defence first, all very organised team. Don't concede too many goals, but it did get to a stage where they were so pragmatic that it got to a stage where they started to leak a few goals, and then they didn't kind of have the attacking impetus to turn that around, and it was quite they went on a quite disappointing run. They seem to have come through it a bit. They're starting to score a few more, although they've only scored 26 goals this season, not many. They're starting to score a few more. They're starting to get a few results, and as you say, they're 2 points off the playoff, so they're definitely well in it right now in the race for that playoff. And any team in the Championship, around that mid-table, you go on a run, and you've got a decent chance. But clearly they're not going to be an easy team to play against. Just by the fact they don't concede many goals, it's going to be hard to break them down, especially with Spurs' troubles sometimes breaking teams down. You saw against Portsmouth, wasn't exactly easy breaking them down for us. So I do see a bit of trouble, especially away from home. The fans as well are going to be right up for it. You saw last season we played a Middlesbrough team who weren't doing particularly great, and we got knocked out by them last season in the FA Cup in extra time because of a lacklustre performance. So there's obviously a possibility of an upset tomorrow for sure. I would go strong because I think that we have a week in between Preston and Man City, so I'd go strong. I'd go full team.
We're hearing from our sources that Kane and who was it? Kane and someone else are ill, as well as Kane and Richarlison are ill, and Conte is ill. If that's the case and they are ill for the game, would you like to see them being rested and maybe a Danjuma and Brian Hill potentially coming in?
Yeah, if they're ill.
Fit?
If they're ill, they're not 100%. Yeah, then
Kane was ill for the Fulham game, and look what a performance he put in.
Yeah, he did play fairly well. It depends. I'll leave that to the medical team. If he feels fit to play, I'll play him. But if he's ill,
that's a wise move, leaving anything to this medical team.
They're not the best, but I'll bow to their judgment. If they believe that he's fit enough to play and he wants to play, I'll play him. But if he is ill and he's really under the weather and he doesn't feel up to it, I would put Danjuma, probably put Son up front and Danjuma down on the left and Kulusevski on the right.
Would you start Danjuma regardless in this game? Just give him a debut, lesser opposition. Obviously, it's a big potential of a banana skin because any Premier League side going away to the Championship, there could be a potential of banana skin there. But would you start him either way?
Yeah, I probably would, because Son is really out of form, and I think Danjuma, maybe give him a debut in this kind of game. It could really be beneficial if he gets off and running very quickly. It could be a very big confidence boost. So, yeah, bring him in, put him in straight away, whether it be up front or off the left. I think it'd be exciting for the fans to see a new player.
In terms of midfield, I mean, but me personally, I'd like to see maybe Højbjerg come out of the team just for this game. Maybe bring him back for the Man City game. Let's see, maybe a Bentancur and Papa Sarr double pivot, or Bentancur Bissouma double pivot. What would your opinion be on that?
I think I personally, I think just play your strongest team. I think the strongest team available, like that you feel like. I think I'd play Højbjerg and Bentancur tomorrow, because I think I wouldn't chop and change too much. I think we need to go strong. Well, I want to get to the next round. I think we have a really decent opportunity this season, with how the draw has fallen, to really progress into the latter stages and give this cup a good go. And I don't want to be sitting here on Saturday evening, having played a weakened team and potentially gone out and thinking, what could have been if we just went started Højbjerg or started our strongest team, and thinking ifs, buts and maybes, when we have a week break from now till Man City anyway, so we have time to recover. So I would go strongest team. I would keep Højbjerg in, I'd keep Bentancur in, and I'll go strong as possible.
Interesting. And Lloris?
I'll keep him in. He was all right against Fulham. Hopefully he'll have put some of his mistakes behind him. You can hope. I know Lloris has been terrible. I don't see Conte take him out of the team at this point for any prolonged period of time. I thought if he would have
game, you do usually see the second choice keeper come in, don't you?
You do. I think he probably will put Forster in, to be honest. I wouldn't, but I think he would. I think he will. He took him out for the League Cup, and I think it's probably in agreement. League and Champions League is Lloris. FA Cup and League Cup is Forster. That's probably what Forster came in and agreed to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Forster come in whatsoever in this game. But look, there's no two ways about it. It's going to be a really difficult game. They're going to be up for it. The players are going to be up for it. It's a massive day for them. Their fans are going to be up for it. And also the 6,000 travelling Spurs fans are going to be more than up for it as well. I mean, you saw the atmosphere that the Spurs fans created at Palace. You saw what we created at Fulham as well. And I'm counting on you guys to create an atmosphere like that again tomorrow.
Damn right. Yeah, I'm going to be up there. Leaving at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. So looking forward to a long trip ahead, and should be a good trip up in Preston. Never been there, never been to Deepdale before. So that's a new ground I can tick off the list, and I'm excited. It should be a good away day. And look, the FA Cup always brings a bit more of a different kind of atmosphere as well.
You're about to burst into song there. The FA Cup is an occasion.
It's close to Christmas Day. Yeah, let's hope. I think it should be a good occasion. I think it should be a good atmosphere. I think Preston at home. So I'm looking forward to it. I am really looking forward to it. Shame you can't come.
Yeah, massive shame I can't come, but hopefully I'll get to watch the game with Grandpa from hospital. So obviously, if you guys haven't seen our Twitter, Grandpa has had a big operation in hospital, obviously, and he's come out of it today, but he's still going to be in hospital for the next few days. So please, everyone, send their best wishes. He's watching and he's looking at all the comments, so send your best wishes to Grandpa. Hopefully he should be out of hospital in the next couple of days, but did have that operation yesterday, so he's just recovering in hospital at the moment, and hopefully I'll get to go and watch the game with him tomorrow there. But that is your match preview. Let me know what's your score prediction?
I can't predict a loss to Preston, so I'm gonna go with a win. I'm gonna go with, I think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think it'll be easy. I think Preston will probably give it a go, but I think I'm hoping we'll be too strong. So 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I'm going to go for a bit of a bigger scoreline. I think we're going to go there with a bit of a point to prove. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Spurs, and I'm hoping Danjuma starts, because I really think that a game like this he can flourish in, especially, Swansea as well, a bit more pragmatic. Maybe Danjuma can work in the tight spaces. They usually play a 3-5-2 formation. So, I'm going to go 3-1 to Spurs. I think if we can get an early goal, I think the floodgates can open, because it will force Preston to come out a little bit more and attack us. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Spurs. Sim is going 2-1 to Spurs. Let me know in the comment section below what your predictions are for the game. That is your match preview. Just before we get into the callers, let's touch on a few headlines for a mini Tottenham update that we haven't spoken about in the last 24 hours. First of all is Alex Merritt. TYC Sport are claiming that Tottenham have chosen Alex Merritt to replace Hugo Lloris. So we heard that we were interested a couple of days ago, but this report, TYC Sport, apparently a tier 1 source, saying that Spurs have chosen Alex Merritt to replace Hugo Lloris.
That'd be interesting. Let's hope. I mean, TYC is Argentinian, isn't it?
Not sure where they're from.
I think they're from Argentina, because I remember, I'm pretty sure with all the Argentina news, they're always first to break it, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, from Argentina. But so I don't know how good their sources is. So I guess we'll wait and see. I wouldn't get too excited based on just one report. But he's obviously been quite a good keeper for Napoli. He seems to be doing very well this season. Napoli are doing fantastic, and he seems to be a good part of it. So if they've identified him, that would be quite exciting, because do it early. Hopefully Lloris will have some input in it as well. He's at a good age, so it could be a very good option for us.
Anthony Gordon, El Bobble, which is a Everton ITK who's really reliable with Everton news, and he says yesterday that Anthony Gordon has been in London in the last 36 to 48 hours, speaking with both Tottenham and Newcastle, and Everton are willing to accept a certain offer. And it's also worth noting that he's just failed to turn up to Everton training. 1 day was excused for, but 2 days was just no excuse whatsoever. He hasn't turned up. And that followed on from him getting abuse coming out of Goodison from the Everton fans. They were crowding around his car, giving him abuse. We all know your opinions on Anthony Gordon, but would you like to see him come in anyway?
Well, there are Henry. Who was it? I think there's some Sky Sports reporters yesterday reporting that there's no truth in Tottenham being linked with or reigniting their interest in Anthony Gordon. So I don't think there's any truth to it. I think Spurs have got Danjuma now. I don't see them getting Anthony Gordon as well, especially for the reported fee. So I don't think there's anything to talk about there. But would I want him? Probably not. I don't think I want Danjuma. I don't think I want Gordon right now. Anyway, maybe from a homegrown standpoint.
I think if we're not going to bring in anyone else, and Lucas Moura is not going to play again this season, we're looking to loan out Brian Hill. If Brian Hill does go, I'll be open to seeing Gordon come here, to be honest. I think he's a player that can get better and better. Obviously, he hasn't shown his as much as maybe he would want to see, the Everton fans want to see, and maybe prospective signings want to see. But I do think he's got talent and ability that can get better and better. And I would like to see him through the door. And I think he's a player that can potentially fill in at wing back as well. So that's the Anthony Gordon thing. Jed Spence, Sebastian Dennis, who's a Lyon reporter, says Jed Spence is a serious option for Lyon. Would you like to see him go there? Or would you like to see him stay in the Premier League? Obviously, Brentford are heavily linked as well.
Yeah, I preferably want him to stay in the Premier League and really get that experience here. I do think playing for Lyon in the Champions League or in Europe would benefit him. Just getting regular minutes at a fairly high level in Liga. I do think Liga is an underrated league in my opinion, and I do think there's value in him getting regular minutes there. But I would rather him go out on loan to someone at Lyon than sell him permanently to like Brentford or loan with an option to buy off something to the Premier League team. And if there are no Premier League teams willing to accept a deal without an option, apparently Spurs have rejected bids from Brentford because they had options to buy in it. And if there aren't a Premier League team, then yeah, I think a loan to Lyon where he can get regular minutes and show what he can do would be beneficial in my opinion. So I am pretty open for him to go there in my opinion.
And the last but not least, Davinson Sanchez. The Mail are reporting that Nice have made an inquiry for Davinson Sanchez. However, the player is reluctant to leave this month.
Why? Why do you want to stay and sit on the bench? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Why would he be the one reluctant to leave? If Conte says he's reluctant to sell him because he doesn't feel like he has adequate cover, that's one thing. But if we feel like we're happy to let him go, maybe with an option to bring someone in, and he's the one reluctant to leave, that would be really frustrating because we know for a long time now he's not been good enough. He's not good enough for what we need, Davinson Sanchez, and he needs to move away. And I don't know I don't know, maybe he feels like he can play his way in the team. I mean, I don't know why he would want to stay. Maybe it's because, I don't know if he has a young family, doesn't want to uproot them or whatever, but frustrating if that's the case because we need the money or we need something from what he can give us.
I don't understand these players. Like, if you're not playing, Emerson's different case because he's actually been playing and maybe he's got a bit of a full sense of of his value in the squad. But players like Davinson Sanchez, who just doesn't play anymore. I mean, he hasn't played in ages, Davinson Sanchez. Like, why would he want to stick around just being on the bench week in, week out? What is the... I just don't get it.
Well, according here, there's a report coming from Foot Mercato that are claiming exclusive, saying an English club has offered more than PSG for a central defender of Inter, Skriniar, at the end of the contract in June. Skriniar has asked PSG to match this offer. As it stands, no agreement has been reached with the club.
Let's hope it's bloody Spurs.
Could it be Spurs? Well, Chelsea is chock-a-block with centre-backs right now. Man City...
Does it matter if they're chock-a-block with centre-backs? He's better than probably anyone that they have. And we know Chelsea just will sign anyone willy-nilly and just not put them in the squad if they can't get them out the door.
Maybe Newcastle could be. But could be Tottenham. Tottenham would make the most sense.
For us, it would, yeah. It
would. I mean, from who needs a centre-back the most.
Yeah, but, life isn't as simple as that, is it, Sim?
Never with Tottenham. But as long as we don't know the name of the club, there's always hope.
Yeah.
Don't tell us the name.
Look, I'll love it.
Go. Maybe Skriniar could be on his way to Tottenham. You never know. All right, cool.
That is your Tottenham update for today. Obviously, if anything else breaks, we'll bring it to you as and when it does. Do we have any guests to come on? No guests, so if you do want to come on, the link is in the community section right now to come and chat to us about the FA Cup and about any signings and where you think the state of the squad is at the moment. Looking forward to hearing all of your opinions.
Let's do a poll. I want to know what the audience thinks. 600 people watching. What would you rather this season, FA Cup or top four? I want to know what people think. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Let's make a poll. And we will come to this poll at the end of the show and give the results.
What's the poll?
FA Cup or top four?
I want both, man.
Don't we all?
Why do we have to prioritise one out of those two when the FA Cup falls on weekends anyway, when the Premier League gets postponed?
Don't know.
You can. There is a world where we can go for both, by the way. So, I mean, I hate this question when it's either or, FA Cup or top four. Why not both?
It's just the way of the world as a Tottenham fan.
The way of the world as the Tottenham fan is you get no choice in the domestic cups. It's top four or nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's
FA
the frustrating
Cup,
thing.
Way ahead at the moment after 72 votes. 77% would rather an FA Cup than top four. We're all just so hungry for a trophy, aren't we? We're desperate for it at the moment. I don't want to be sitting here tomorrow after the game or on Sunday and thinking, oh, wow, the cup, which we could have taken more seriously and we missed an opportunity because with Newcastle out, Chelsea are out, one of Man City or Arsenal going out. Liverpool still have to go away to Brighton. They could very well be out. So
I think Liverpool are going out this weekend.
So there's a big opportunity for Spurs, who if we can get past Preston and get another decent draw next round, all of a sudden you're in the quarterfinals, and not many big teams left.
Is it the quarterfinals next round?
It'll be the last 16 next round.
Last 16 next round. Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're getting, you can see, all of a sudden you're not that far away from the final.
Yeah, I remember wasn't it a similar case last year when we went out to Middlesbrough? Like a few big teams had been knocked out, and we were like, "Oh, this is such a good opportunity for us."
Yeah, well, there was always an opportunity.
And then we lost to Middlesbrough,
yeah,
which is very frustrating. I wonder if the poll would be the same if you asked if it was League Cup or top four. I wonder if it would be the same if the fan base are that starving, if they would choose a League Cup over a top four. Let us know in the comment section, guys. Would you prefer a League Cup over a top four as well as an FA Cup, or is it just the FA Cup because of the history towards it? I mean, someone says here top four attracts big players. Yes, it does, but ambition also just attracts top big players as well. We saw Arsenal not get top four last season, and they've kicked on, and now they're top of the league by however many points they are. I mean, top four made no difference to the trajectory of both clubs, Arsenal and Tottenham, last year. At all.
At the moment, absolutely right. It made no difference. We could have spent the money we spent in Europa League. We didn't need Champions League football for it, and we didn't attract maybe names that we couldn't have attracted in the Europa League, most likely. So when it comes to the only thing that benefits us is more money, but we haven't really spent it, so it hasn't made too much of a difference. The only thing that we have to say is we have to see at the end of the season how we do in the Champions League. And if we do have a good run, then you'll say that it did benefit us. But if we don't, then it would have been kind of useless.
Let's have a talk about our players out on loan at the moment. You've got obviously Dane Scarlett, Troy Parrott. Dane Scarlett's an interesting one because obviously he started off really well there. The manager really believed in him, and then the manager got sacked. And he's just been on the bench ever since, pretty much. Even before the manager got sacked, he was relegated to the bench, not getting too many minutes. Would you like to see us recall him now and send him out to somewhere else, potentially?
Who's Scarlett? Yeah, probably, if he's not getting the game time. It's really frustrating because maybe it's because of the change in manager or something, but they sacked their manager who was really complimentary of Scarlett. He was bigging him up all the time, saying how he's going to go straight to the top. He was playing under him. He wasn't scoring that regularly, but he scored a few goals, especially in the FA Trophy. And I think since the new manager's come in, it hasn't quite been the same. So
I think they got a new manager yet.
Have they just got a caretaker, do they?
I think so, yeah.
Well, whatever. Since the manager left, it hasn't been the same. So I think you have to definitely consider it because you want his development to come with game time. That only comes with regular games. So if he's not getting that, then I think you have to.
Point, is there?
There's no point. You might as well cut your losses and move him on. But yeah, I think it just deserves a frank conversation with the man of the hierarchy at Portsmouth about what's going on there. Do you anticipate he might come get into the team again? Is it because he's not playing well? Is it just because the manager doesn't fancy him? There's all these different things. But if he can't get in the team, then I would for sure look to loan him out to a different team who's more likely to play him, because that's better for his development.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's kind of gone a bit stale for Scarlett a bit at the moment at Portsmouth.
But you got to remember he's only 18, 19.
Yeah, but you
very young.
You don't send players on loan just to sit on the bench, do you? You send them on loan to continue their development, and that's not really going to happen with him sitting on the bench. That's the honest truth. But let's go to the callers now. I think we got Tinus.
No.
Brian.
First.
We got Brian first. Brian Daigle. He's got his fingers ready. His fingers must have 6-packs on them by now. Brian, how are you doing?
Mate, do you know what, Ben? First of all, I think it was Sean Butler that told me I should actually get the 6-pack tattooed on here, and I'm very tempted. Actually, it's a very, very good idea. But how are you? First of all, most importantly, how's Grandpa?
Yeah, Grandpa's doing all right. Obviously, he's just resting in hospital. He thought he might have got out in time to watch the Spurs-Preston game, but they're keeping him in there for a couple of days more. So hopefully I'll get the chance to go watch the game with him tomorrow there.
I FaceTimed him yesterday after his surgery, and the first question he asked me was, have we signed Porro yet? That was the first thing he asked me. I had to let him down gently. That hasn't quite gone to plan just yet, but it looks very likely still. He's in good spirits.
Let's face it, watching the football in hospital is probably the best place because it makes you sick anyway. So, so obviously, what have you been speaking about today? I've just been a bit busy, but obviously I saw you on and I had to come on.
We've been speaking about the FA Cup first and foremost. I mean, There's a poll going on the channel, top 4 or FA Cup, and I think I know which camp you're going to be in.
FA Cup all day, every day. Listen, this cup for a lot of people as well, and for the younger generation, haven't been brought up with the magic that we were earlier, and obviously people older than me, where not just what this cup is like the oldest and most special domestic cup game or cup competition, but this was a cup that used to be ours. This was a thing where this was the one TV show. This is the one game that was broadcasted worldwide, or to maybe not worldwide, but multiple countries across the world. It was the only glimpse of English football they got to see. And also, if people remember of my age or older, this used to be like a whole day spectacle on BBC. You used to wake up at like breakfast time, and the whole of the day was FA Cup, how they got there, watching them in the hotels, watching them leave, watching them on the coach, everything. This cup is very, very special to me and always will be. So I will always be FA Cup over top four, always.
But what's your opinion on like what the state of modern football in terms of how important the FA Cup is? Has it lessened in importance? Not for you, but like if you look at it objectively in modern football, has FA Cup lessened in importance for like the top clubs?
Yeah, if I was to take my FA Cup his magic hat off, or not think with my heart, Simeon, for a change, and think with my head, I can do that occasionally. This will be one of the only times. And I think you're right. I think because of the football, because of the money in football, I think it started to lose it in the year that Manchester United did the treble, and then obviously they went to play in this World Club Cup, and they didn't come into the FA Cup. I think that was a huge part of where the magic may have stopped when you have Manchester United out of it. Now a lot of teams, use it for like people use the Carabao Cup. Let's get the youngsters out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because for some people, they're going for titles. Some people, they're avoiding relegation. And then for other teams that are like middle of the road, they probably think, let's go at this full hog because it's our only chance. And this isn't me going for me, this FA Cup, if I was a manager, would be just as important every year. But I agree with you, Sim. I think it has lost some of its magic where we are today compared to if I look back to like 1991, let's say, or even 99 when Man U did the treble.
Talk to me about what kind of lineup you think we should be playing tomorrow. You think we should go absolutely full strength, or would you like to see players like Bissouma and Danjuma, Forster get a bit of a run out tomorrow?
Well, do you know what it is, Ben? I think Bissouma deserves a chance anyway. We were speaking, and people have been talking in the last few games. Højbjerg hasn't looked himself. Which fair play, players can have off days. I never dispute that they can't have off days, but we have the players to supplement that in that position. So let's use it. And then you look at it, if we are going for the top four and we want to make a serious push for it, and let's face it, our squad isn't going to be lathered with or loads of transfers coming in. It may be Porro and maybe one more. We need to start thinking about the running. We need to start thinking about, right, I need X, Y, and Z player fit for this game, and start playing around with it and saying, right, because you look at it, we got Leicester, Man City, West Ham, and Chelsea back to back. This month, I know we say this every month, but this month's going to be pivotal in FA Cup success, Champions League success, and possibly claiming the top four. So I'm really torn between, do we go and give loads of youth a chance in the FA Cup, or is this viably our one serious chance at trophies or at silverware? Because you've got to look at it. There's a lot of Premier League teams, again, that will be going out this round. It's a real hard one for me to choose. But with my first question, or my first answer being I want the FA Cup, I've got to say go full squad, haven't I? I've got to.
And we never got your opinion on Danjuma since we've signed him. What's your opinion on the signing?
I said it, for me, this is typical Tottenham, wandering around the jungle like a pack of starving hyenas looking for scraps. is the way I've described it. Whether this was kept under the radar and we were always going for whatever, Zaniolo was obviously, we know how important he was or how much they were wanting. I didn't want him because of his injury record, but then I do see where Tottenham were coming from with the fact that his injury record is Conte staying. What are we going to do with him if he does? So an initial huge outlay for him, I get. But this Danjuma, everything done with Everton, it's a cheap loan deal for a position we need. We're getting, this is meant to be Mora's replacement. Well, I want Mora's replacement to be a huge upgrade on Mora, like Kulusevski was.
You wouldn't have said Kulusevski is a massive upgrade until you saw him play, though, did you?
Well, no. When we signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, Sim, I knew a lot more about Kulusevski. I didn't know a thing about Bentancur. So I'd seen that the potential was there with him. I'd seen that he could do bits. Of course, I didn't expect him to go to the levels that he did so quickly. But the method of this transfer and the way it's been brought in just reeks of one thing and one thing only. It really does. Listen, it could turn out to be another one. But if you're telling me after 25 days it was, or 24, all of a sudden it's come in and we've got a 2.5 million loan deal in, and it's supplemented some of the Foyth money owed and blah blah blah. It
Oh, is
stinks
that
at
right?
one
I didn't
thing.
even know that.
Yeah, apparently so. And then you look at it, the other way I
Makes
look at it
sense.
is the other. Well, it's typical one man, isn't it? But the other thing I've looked at it as well, and I'm sure you've spoken about it. We've been told we're looking for opportunities. We're looking for that golden catchphrase. Is Skriniar at 20 million not an opportunity? Is that not staring you right in the face?
Well, we just spoke about Skriniar. Apparently, an unnamed English club have come in for him.
Yeah, what did they say? An unknown team has been creeping towards him.
Creeping.
Unless it's shown interest, then it's nothing to do with Tottenham.
Exactly. So the Danjum one, listen, it could come off.
Club has registered their interest. Did you not hear?
Monitoring the situation, Albion is about to come in, or registered our interest Rovers. One of the two will come in as our aliases. Yeah. So listen, Danjum, it's underwhelming, isn't it? Well, you talk about underwhelming. Look at Arsenal today. They're going for quality again, and it's like we want 60 million. Wallop. There you go. There's 60 million.
Or they rejected the
60
bid.
million got rejected.
Okay, it's been rejected. Fair play. Will Arsenal go back? Probably, but at least they've shown their intent immediately and gone, right, we're seriously interested in the player. Here's 60 million. I know you rejected 55 from Chelsea. Bang, there's 60.
You say immediately, but it is 27 days into the window.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how long has Arsenal been? Arsenal haven't even been mentioned in this. I'm saying in the last 24 hours, since we've woken up, it's Arsenal waiting for bang. Here's a 60 million pound. Listen, this is what happens with transfer deadline day and with it getting closer. But you can see the talent they're identifying and trying to help the manager with what he needs. Whereas we're still, obviously, God knows, just waiting for a here we go for Porro. We're all waiting on it.
Well, apparently, Brian, the Porro deal's being dragged out because Levy won't let the sporting chairman borrow his pen.
Mate, you know what? I actually believe that. I actually believe that.
He doesn't want the ink costs. Don't encourage him. He's gonna do a YouTube video just on that.
No, it's going on my social media now. It's going right now. I've got to be careful what I put on social media because
I let you borrow my ink.
Mate, oh yeah, but it depends. Is it blue ink or black ink? It's probably got to be Tottenham blue. Who knows? But it got to the point where yesterday I even got called anti-Semitic. I was like, yes, I'm an anti-Semitic Jew that stands proudly as a Jew with Israeli.
Self-hater.
Oh, it's just I'm the worst kind, aren't I? But yeah, it's just like I said, Danjuma.
It's such a big problem, Danjuma, because like at the end of the day, he's just going to be an option off the bench. He's not coming in to start, is he?
Yeah, but that's where my problem is, Ben, because our first starting 11 is simply not good enough.
Well, our front three.
Okay, the front three, but what happens if one of them get injured?
And Danjuma comes in.
There are people going around saying, right, I'm in a position to either A, win a title, or we need to starve off relegation. So our team have got us into this situation. So let's help this team maintain a title push, or get some players in that can help us get away from the Champions League and go straight into that first team.
See, I don't have too many problems with this signing. I had much more problems with the Longley signing than I have with this one. I know they're both loan players, right? But Longley was brought in a position of absolute desperation.
Yep. Which is still desperation.
Yeah, of course. But Danjuma's not coming in with a position of desperation. He's coming in as an option that we could do with off the bench, and that's all right with me.
Ben, I agree with where you're coming from, but right now, do we need to sort out the players or the positions that desperately need filling, or okay, if such and such happens, we have a backup? That's my issue. That's where another line that I heard after we won the transfer window was
nobody said that,
January.
By the way.
Oh, mate, there's so many people that have said it.
The only people say Spurs win the transfer window. All it is for Gooners, for a stick to beat us with. I remember every single person coming on here giving it 5 or 6 out of 10. So that's all bollocks.
I don't think you find out. Yeah, but anyway, I know what you're saying. But one of the lines I heard, and I've seen it many times on social media, is the summer window is going to be used for filler, but the January one is going to be used for quality, like bringing in 2 quality, i.e. Bentancur and Kulusevski. Yeah, the evidence is there for all to see.
All right, Brian, score prediction tomorrow?
I'm just going to go 2-1 Spurs. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. All I care about, in all honesty, there is the unbelievable away support that was there at Craven Cottage. Unbelievable, phenomenal, astronomical. Makes you proud to be a Spurs fan. Away support turn up again in their goddamn numbers. I think their home ground's called Deepdale or something, isn't it? Preston or whatever it's called. So I hope they turn up in numbers. The TVs are there; it'll be compact. I know people are going there with the banners, so they'll be seen. And just in words of Nuno, make us proud. Make us proud, and the away support do it. I want the FA Cup so badly. If we go out of it, I think Armageddon is going to happen. I honestly think Armageddon will happen as a Spurs fan. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
All right. Big up, Daigle. We'll speak to you soon, mate.
Big up. And as always, Levy out.
Come on, Brian.
Apparently, Stellini is taking the press conference again later today at 2 p.m.
Conte can't be bothered with the cup press conferences.
And Football London say the arrival of Danjuma means Tottenham will have to leave a current non-homegrown player from their Champions League squad to make room for the forward in this season's competition.
See you later, Davinson, hopefully. Is it Davinson that we want? Who else is there? Well, Lucas Moura.
Has to be like Lucas or Hill.
Lucas, for sure. Lucas ain't going to play again this season.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who it is. Yeah, probably
it's got to
Lucas.
be Lucas. Anyway, let's get our next guest on. It's Dinas. How you doing, my friend? Are you on mute?
Rookie mistake.
There you go.
Right.
How are you, brother?
I'm good, and you guys?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Where are you calling from?
South Africa.
Okay.
Ah, awesome.
From a South African Spurs fan, tell me, what does the FA Cup mean to you? Is it a big thing that you desperately want to win? Do you favour it over a top four?
Yes and no. I would like the trophy drive to end for sure. Because then that argument is gone. Whenever you start an argument with anyone, especially Arsenal fans, they're about like, yeah, when last did you win a trophy? So in that sense, FA Cup would be nice. But honestly, top four is a bit more important, I feel. If we do not get top four, I don't think there's a chance Antonio or Kane stays. And
Even if we win the FA Cup.
I think that'll give them even more reason to leave then, because then they did achieve something with Tottenham. They got something. There's no future really, so leave before it's too bad.
Well, what kind of team would you like to see us play tomorrow? Would you rest some players, or do you think we can go full strength in view that we have a week break till the City game?
Honestly, I'd like some rest, especially for Kane. Sonny can do with the rest. Give some other people a chance. But on the other hand, maybe just put out your starting 11, strongest starting 11. After 45 minutes, make some few changes. Give everyone a good rest. Once the win is secure, maybe 3-0, 4-0, take everyone off.
You're confident. You're very confident. You don't think tomorrow's a bit of a potential banana skin?
I mean, with Spurs, every game is a potential
Very true.
banana skin.
Very true.
But if you look at stats and if you look at the teams on paper, we should be winning this game with our eyes closed. So,
And what's your opinion on our new signing, Danjuma? Do you think it's a good signing, and do you think he should start tomorrow?
it would be nice if he starts. Maybe just show everyone what he has and what he has to offer. Not a big fan about the signing. I feel we could have chosen a better replacement or competition for Sonny or the front line. But honestly, we still need a centre back. Whether we get it right, whether Porro carries on until the summer transfer window or not, we need a centre back, and with Skriniar as a potential, that would be great.
Yeah,
where do you see Skriniar fitting in? Because majority of time he's played as right centre back for Inter Milan, and obviously we have Romero there. So do you think that he can play in the middle of a back three?
I do think so. He's got experience on his side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe take that centre role, have Dyer as a FA Cup replacement or a Carabao Cup maybe for next season. But that's the thing I don't understand is whether Antonio stays or goes at the end of the season, we need a centre back.
Absolutely. Or two.
So why not just get this deal done and you have him whether he stays or goes, and then it's less problems later on in the year.
All right. What's your score prediction tomorrow?
I'd say a 3-1, probably go 3-0 ahead and then have some shambles in the last 10 minutes. Give everyone some hard problems.
All right. 3-1. Great minds think alike. Thanks for coming on today, my friend.
All right, thanks, guys.
Big up. All right. 3-1 to the Spurs he's going for. Let's see what Amir is thinking today. Let's bring him on. Amir, how you doing, my brother?
all good, lads. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good, my friend. I mean, we're asking everyone, FA Cup or top four. What would you like to see? If you had to pick one.
Both.
If you had to pick one.
No, you got to pick on me. Can't sit on the fence on this one.
You know what? I want both. If I had to choose and roll the dice, I'm going to disagree with Phoenix there from South Africa, and I'm going to go for the FA Cup because I think, you know, the joy, the joy of a parade, the happiness of the fans, Harry Kane lifting a trophy, you know, for the first time, Conte showing everyone, you know, all the doubters wrong, and that he can bring silverware home back to the lane. I would take it all day long, to be honest. And you know, if we get fifth and we're, you know, a year in the.
Oh, is he cut out?
I think Amir's cut off. I think his internet has let him down there for a second. Hopefully we can get him back on. Amir, if you're still listening, please try and reconnect and we'll get you back on. But I'm not
Oh, is he back?
I can hear someone there. Oh, he's back, yeah. Amir, we're back. We are back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so did you hear me say about the FA Cup? I'll take the FA Cup.
We heard you say,
yeah,
you take the FA Cup. Do you think it's enough, though, an FA Cup win finishing out the top four to convince maybe Conte and Kane to stay at the club? Or do you think they're looking at more Champions League?
It should be enough. It should be enough. You know, bringing home silverware and you know, the promise of a season to come where we get backed and we, you know, we bring in some players and we really push on. The fact that Arsenal weren't in the Champions League, like you said earlier, didn't hurt them at all in their push for the league title this season. And we've seen, who was it, Chelsea, that were out of it completely. They weren't even in Europa League and they went and won the league. So it's not all black and white when it comes down to the Champions League and the top four places. And, you know, to be honest, if we're in that top four, if we do get it, what's the point in going in there with players like Davinson Sanchez and, you know, these kind of guys? There's no point. If you want to fight in the Champions League, you're going to need to be backed and to get some, you know, proper quality in there in that back line. So we don't leak goals like a strainer, you know. It's just.
To be fair, though, Amir, we did get to the Champions League final with Sissoko and Winks in the middle of the park.
That's true. That is true. But again, that was a bit of a miracle, innit, on the way. We had a few blessings just to get to that final, to be honest.
True.
Definitely. Amir, tell me your thoughts on the transfer window so far. 27 days gone. We've got Danjuma on loan. Porro's deal is dragging out. We're looking maybe for some opportunities late in the window. Are you happy with how things are going? What's your opinion?
I'm not too happy. I mean, this Danjuma, he sounds promising. He could fit into the squad and do well if he's used correctly. My issue is, and that this is, I'm just hoping that the Porro deal gets through and we're looking at a centre back, because for me, the key areas in the team that needs to be strengthened is that defence. Yes, we do need a creative midfielder, and yes, we do need a bit more firepower deep into that squad. But if you're looking at where we struggled the most this season so far, it's that defence. It's that defence. We just leak so many goals, so many silly mistakes, and so many silly goals, which have cost us, dare I say, over 10, 12, 15 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But what has changed, though? Because at the back end of last season, we saw our defence performing at a really good level, conceding not many goals at all. And now we're literally like one of the worst defences in the league if you look at statistically. Yeah. What's happened?
Yeah. Do you know, Ben, I think a lot of football is down to confidence and psychology. So last season, when we were on that good run, the confidence was high, the players are feeling good, the psychology, the mentality, the mindset is all correct. And I think this season, as soon as a few of mistakes happen, we let our heads down. And then, we open the door for more mistakes to happen, like with the Lloris making mistake after mistake, and the first derby and the second derby. And, so I think that kind of side of things really does need to be worked on. And I am a big believer that in football, it's not just about your talent and what you can do with your feet. It is about your mindset. I mean, we've seen players like Didier Drogba, flourish late in his career and just do absolutely magnificently, confidence player, and played that confidence to just become an absolute star. So for me, things do need to be worked on in terms of the psychology of the players, boosting that confidence. And that's why I think it's so critical for Preston that we get a clean sheet. Whether we win 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, I just want that clean sheet to get 2 in a row, to build that confidence at the back, to go into City feeling like, we can defend and not let in bloody 4 goals and a half.
Absolutely spot on, to be honest. Score prediction, Amir?
So with that being said, I'm going to go with 2-0. Hopefully we get a little
2-0.
2-0 victory. Yeah, and hopefully Danjuma can get his name on the score sheet or a little assist or something. That'll be nice for his debut too.
Kane going to do the job tomorrow and become our outright all-time leading record goal scorer?
I'd really hope so. If he's fit and, fit as a fiddle, then yeah, get him on and let him get the record. If he's a bit, under the weather and he's not feeling 100%, rest him and let him break the record against City so we can all have a little laugh at Pep.
Big up, Amir. Thanks for coming on today, my friend, and have a good weekend.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good Shabbat and all the best to Grandpa Brian, of course. Send him my love and hopefully gets well very soon and out of hospital.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Thanks
Speak to you soon.
Take it easy, lads. Bye-bye.
Come on. A few members chats. One from Quandre Jones saying, come on, you Spurs from Detroit member for 23 months.
So big up to you.
And a new member as well in Jay. So welcome to Silver, my friend. And look who we have next. Here's Bobby K. Here's Bobby K. Here's Bobby K. What's going on, man?
Oh, he's on mute. Bobby's on mute.
He comes into the studio and he can't even unmute himself when he calls in.
That's because I got spoiled while I was there. Somebody else was pushing all the buttons. I didn't have to do anything. It was a lot easier. Good morning, boys. Good morning.
How you doing? How are the boys doing?
Yeah, well, buddy, well, sad to be back to reality, unfortunately, but what a trip, seeing all you guys and everything, getting over there, seeing the stadium and whatnot, seeing the sad state of our team. Yeah, it was amazing.
Forget the stadium. You saw the studio. It's much more impressive.
You're
than
back
the
on
stadium.
the other side.
No,
of the
that's what I said.
now,
Seeing you guys and everything, and Ben getting me to take a few calls.
You got thrown straight into the deep end there.
You know what, and why not? You succeed when you get thrown in the pan, or you end up burning away, right? So I survived, and even was able to make it back on for round 2. So it was a great experience, boys. I appreciate what you did there, and even bringing the boys on at the end there and everything. My mom saw that, and she's like, "Oh, that was so nice of them boys to do that." And it's funny because my mom's like early 70s and she doesn't talk like that, but she goes into old lady mode as soon as she's talking about the grandkids. It goes, "Oh, that's so sweet." Speaking about grandmas, man, how is Grandpa doing?
Yeah, he's on the mend for sure. I mean, I spoke to him today. A little bit frustrated because he's in hospital and stuff, and he thought he'd be out by now. But a few more days. Bobby, a few more days, and a few more days, and I think he'll be back at home.
Nice. And he's on the mend. Everything. He's healing well. Everything's going good. Okay. Good. Okay. So we don't need to go too further into that. Hopefully he'll be home and screaming at the TV and cheering on his Spurs very soon, right? So
absolutely.
I like that. I read that thing that you guys tweeted out where he said the first thing he did when he woke up was ask about the Poro deal.
Yeah.
What a legend, man. What? Grandpa, you're a legend. Fantastic stuff, man. It's good. But no,
talk to me, Bobby. FA Cup or top 4?
FA Cup.
Easy.
Yeah, top four. Yay, we got top 4. What do we get with that? Money? The board's pockets are lined, and we continue the same repetitive pattern that's been making the fans miserable for almost just over 20 years now. It's rinse and repeat if we just get top 4. We got to push the boat out just that little bit extra and finally put something in that trophy room, because that was the saddest part of the stadium tour, was doing the trophy bit, because they get that out of the way first because they know it's depressing. I think, it takes all of about 4 seconds to go over the trophy count, and takes even less time to go over the trophy count under Enoch. But we won't get into all that end of it. But I just want to see this, as far as I'm concerned, with everything Harry Kane has done, like him or not, that man deserves to pick up a trophy in a Spurs kit and finally get that blemish off his record, because that's the one thing that everybody kind of rips him for, that, oh yeah, you're the greatest, you've scored so many goals, whatnot, this and that, and joint record goal scorer now up there with a legend in Greaves, and where's your trophy? Where's your medals? Yeah, and it's like, the guy's accomplished so much as an individual, yet you still want to berate him because he's on Tottenham. I honestly think if he was pretty much on any other team, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, even Arsenal, I don't think he'd get the disrespect that he does as badly as he does, because he's associated to us. So I want to see him lift something. I want the club to know what it feels like to win. And I want that to then hopefully spiral into this wave, this rush through the club, this adrenaline that inspires them to go on and seek more and want more, the way we as fans want just something. So that's for that reason solely. Top 4 to me is it's not even a question as far as I'm concerned, if you were going to weigh the two against each other, because top 4 we've got that, quite a few times now. Woohoo! It's just money lining the pockets, and us the opportunity to go into the Champions League and see squads that are stronger than ours, and be reminded that we haven't done the right things to make our squads competitive with the big boys. And I want to get up there because we deserve to be up there, not just because we squeaked into the top 4. I want to win something, and then start that consistency of winning, that drive, that hunger, that greed. And that's what I'm hoping a trophy will bring for us.
Having said that, then tomorrow, would you like to see a full strength team, or would you like to see some some people rested?
Oh, you got to rest some players, at a game like this where it should be a walk-in, but at the end of the day, we all know they never are with us, and we have a bad habit of making teams that are lesser than us on paper look very good. Even we squeaked by Plymouth 1-0. Was it Plymouth?
Yeah.
Portsmouth, sorry, yeah, even that too. So now up in Preston, it's I think we're going to end up using some of our big guns, but I'd like to see them not start the game, obviously. I think Sonny should be rested. Richie should be starting that game. We got to start seeing what this guy can bring when he gets a full 90 minutes out there. We're all hampering on him, that the fact that he's only got 2 goals for 60 million, or we're paid 30 million a goal right now as it stands. So we need to get him firing, hopefully. And again, it's the same thing as with the trophy thing. Hopefully, once he gets a couple of goals, then it opens the floodgates for him and gives him that the drive that he needs and that hunger he needs to go out and get more. Because sometimes that's all it takes, and I think that's what we've been waiting for with Son, and that's what Conte's been waiting for, just to get that one goal in and get it off his back, kind of thing, and take the pressure off, and then from there excel and go further. But until it happens, we won't know. But I'd like to see him. I'd like to even see this Danjuma kid, because he's coming in and we're blasting the shit out of him already. Like, some of the things I've read about this guy, it's just, give the guy a chance. We don't have a choice anymore. Guys, he's a Spurs player. He's going to be putting on a Spurs kit. He's going to be on the bench. He's going to be an option for us. We're going to see him play, hopefully. We need to see him play because we're lacking so badly. And all we can do is get behind him at this point, even if it is just for the rest of the season, the loan, whatever the agreement is. We've got to get behind him. We've got to get behind every one of our players now and push them and inspire them to be better for us, because we want better out of them.
Yeah, I think it's an important message, that, because I've seen a lot of people trying to beat down Danjuma online, on Twitter, all over the place. And once he pulls on that shirt, that Tottenham shirt, I mean, we have to just completely back this guy till the end, because we can't let the negativity seep through with him right from the beginning. But in terms of Danjuma, just as a signing in general, though, what was your first thoughts when we signed him?
Oh, I wasn't overly excited. At the end of the day, I had to look up who the kid was. And I think that's what's frustrated a lot of our fan base, that it wasn't somebody that was a marquee player or somebody that had a name already stamped on him that we knew. A lot of people had to look him up. And the fact that he's second fiddle, third fiddle behind players that we've got rid of in Bergwijn and Vincent Janssen on the Dutch national squad, it's not inspiring, is it? But at the end of the day, you still got to give them the opportunity to come into a new league. You never know how players are going to do. Some switch leagues and they're absolutely atrocious. They're absolutely garbage. Look at Salah. He left Chelsea in the first place. He was horrible here. Went to Italy, made a bit of a name for himself, came back just on fire. Just something else. These players change. They adapt. They grow. And he's at a good age now. What is he, 20, 25, 26?
25, yeah. 25.
20, he's coming into his prime. So this is the age where he could step up or get walked over. And it's up to him on how he takes it as a challenge. We've seen what's happened with other players that we've had challenge in, the likes of Dele Alli and Ndombele. And these guys obviously didn't rise to the challenge because they didn't want to. They just simply just didn't have that motivation, that they're lacking that spirit, lacking that drive for whatever reasons. They just didn't want to be better football players when they had all the God-given talent in the world. So would I rather take a player that might have less talent but might actually put in a lot more effort? I personally would, because talent will take you so far, but if you're not willing to apply yourself, it means jack shit. So if this kid's willing to come in and prove people wrong and put up a name for himself, then hey, man, go for it. Again, all we can do is get behind him and wish him the best. Not the most inspiring signing, not the one that made us all jump out of our seats and go, yeah, screw you, put up the two fingers to the rest of the league kind of thing. That it's not that situation, unfortunately, but it is a piece of the puzzle that we needed. He is an attacking option that we desperately needed. When Conte looked over at that bench, it was almost deflating for him. You could almost see it in the body language sometimes. You'd look behind him. Oh, God. He'd just turn around and be like, all right, I'll just watch this shit show in front of me, because these guys aren't going to make it much better. So let's hope the kid can hit the ground running and change a lot of minds. That's pretty much all I'm hoping for at this point.
Yeah, and with the the transfer window in general, we've got 4 days left till the end. With the Porro deal is stringing along at the moment. Everyone's saying it's very, very close. It's inches away, centimeters away, millimeters away. The pen is so close to the paper, it's just not touching at the moment. What's your views on the transfer window in general, and the Porro deal stretching along? What's your? Are you frustrated, or are you excited about what the last few days can bring?
Beyond Sim, I'm beyond frustrated with this one, only because if we're going to finally pay the release clause, why didn't we pay it 3 damn weeks ago? I should have seen this kid lined up for the NLD. It would have been nice. But unfortunately, it wasn't done. Now we're going to go right down to the wire, because this is our haggling tactical way. And we've gotten to the point where we've put ourselves between a rock and a hard place, yet we're pointing fingers at Sporting, saying that they're the ones that are being difficult. Why aren't they being difficult? You've pushed them right to the end of the transfer window with 4 days left and given them little hope of bringing in a replacement, when they're fighting over there in their league and they're doing well over there. Why are they going to want to throw away a quality player without seeing somebody come in or have a potential replacement for him? We're foolish for even thinking that we could just go into clubs and steal players, and they're just going to discard them because we've come in and given them money. I blame this again solely. It comes right back down to us because we're the ones that keep dragging heels. We're the ones that keep not pushing the boat out. We're making sure that we bring the attention of the player, and then we make sure in the media that we're making it look like, oh no, we're trying to do everything. I wonder if this is a bullshit smokescreen that's going to go down, and then at the end of it, it's going to be another thing for our PR team to turn around and spin and say, well, we tried. We went there. We offered the money. We did this. We did that. But there was one little haggling thing that we wouldn't agree to, which ended up killing the deal. And then there we are, right back to where we were, and the deal is not done. But it should, like I said, what's frustrating is it should have been done 25 days ago at the latest. So that's what really irritates me about this one, because if you were so adamant that you were going to do this, you were so adamant that you were going to finally back Conte properly and spend this kind of money on a position that we actually need, then it should have been done. Like you look at this deal from Arsenal today, where what did they 60 million for Casado or something they offered,
and
it was rejected. 60 million. Like, they're just okay. Here you go, because they're backing their manager, and it's frustrating. It really is. That's the really frustrating end of it. And you know me, I don't try to get into the Levy in, Levy out, Conte in, Conte out stuff. But to me, I can understand why he would be exceedingly frustrated right now, because you go through, first off, we talked about this when I was there with you boys, with the personal losses that he suffered and everything, and what he's going through away from his family, and how detrimental it could be possibly to his health even. He's just looking drained and already burned out. And we're not inspiring him to want to turn around and put pen to paper and stay, because we're not giving him anything to inspire him with. So if this is the way we're going to continuously do business, it's not going to be long before the wheels completely fall off and the club gets what they do not want. And that's going to be a complete revolt from the fan base. And that's concerning, because we've got a wicked fan base, man. We've got a lot of really good people in here that just want to see Tottenham do well. And they're not malicious against the board. They're not malicious against the club at all. But they just want to see them do well. And that's why I think that's where we're getting divided as a fan base, because you have a certain entity that basically says, no, you have to hold the board accountable. And then you have a certain entity that's appreciative of what the board's done in terms of bringing us up financially with the stadium and everything like that. And they're using that against us. That's how they're using it to divide the fan base and say, well, look at what we have given you. Don't look at what we haven't given you. And it's you got to give us more on the pitch, man. It's as simple as that. And if you don't start giving Conte what he wants on the pitch, then he walks. And if Kane walks, we seriously get set back a long ways. I'd say we're 4 or 5 years of mid-table at best.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. What makes me laugh the most is the latest report that came out yesterday, being like, Spurs are growing frustrated with Sporting prolonging this deal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you've been prolonging it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and suddenly you're the ones frustrated, yeah?
Yeah, because they prolonged it. You prolonged it 26 days. They prolonged it 24 hours, and we're the ones that are getting mad. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Well played. That's what I'm saying. It's PR bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like me pursuing a girl and sending her flowers, this, that, the everything, chocolates, this and that, and she doesn't bother. So I turn around and I turn my attention elsewhere. All of a sudden, now that I'm dating somebody else, she bangs on the door and goes, oh, by the way, I was just, stringing you along and playing hard to get. Well, too late, man. This ship sailed. Sorry. You missed this chocolate. It's gone. Yeah. Right. So it's and that's what's happening with us right now. And I wonder again if it's just a smokescreen so we can turn around and say, well, we tried to bring in a quality player. We tried to bring in a player that was going to fill a gap. We tried to bring in a player that we desperately needed. And again, there's also that argument there with some people. Now Emerson has kind of stepped up and been decent for 2 games. That we need to prioritize something else somewhere else. Well, guys, it doesn't work like that. We're not playing FIFA where we can just turn around and say, okay, I'm going to retract my offer for this guy and turn around and go for another guy now. And it's a matter of just pushing a couple of buttons. And there's a business end of it needs to be done, and we've left it too late again. And this is what the excuses are going to be out of them to say why we didn't do A, B, C, and D. And it's going to be frustrating for a lot of us, man, because if we have to watch just the rest of this squad try to push us through the end of the season into an FA Cup and push us further into Champions League, we're in for a rude awakening, man. And we are going to be left really pissed off at the end of the season, I think. And that's what I fear. I don't think there's going to be any glory. I think we'll be lucky to even get top 4. I think the board's going to lose. We as fans are going to lose. The players are going to lose. And it's just going to create such a detrimental black cloud effect over the entire club and fan base. And that scares the shit out of me, guys. It really does, because I want to be inspired. I want to have hope. I want to have a little bit of faith in my club. And it just seems like they keep chipping away at it and taking it away slowly, piece by piece. And it's happening to more and more people. And it's sad to see, man. Like we're seeing more people turn against the club and get frustrated and angry. And it affects people's lives, man. You know, my good man Brian here, the little brother to me, was just on a few calls ago. And, you know, Brian, geez, I worry that Brian's going to blow a gasket one day. You know, and
he will.
I just want to see it. Yeah, he will. Yeah, but I just want to see him actually, you know, have a reason to smile with this club. And we got to get this deal done like today. We've screwed around way too much. I don't know what it's come down to. Something about him playing on Saturday.
We're such a nice club. We're going to let him play in the cup final tomorrow.
Let him. That if that's what it takes, just do it, and then bring him back. And then when he gets injured and we don't have him for the rest of the season, we can point at the board and just wonder why you're so stupid. Because had you done the deal 25 days ago when you basically started it, or if you did start it then this wouldn't have even been a part of the conversation at this point. But here it is, because we allowed it to drag on again and again and again. So I just like forget the Poro thing. You know, we know that's in limbo still and everything. There's a rumor came out that some English club had made contact regarding Skriniar and that he favors a move there instead of PSG and blah, blah, blah. I'd like to see that one happen. For 20 million to get a player of that quality, even De Vrij, 15 million is cheaper, getting him in. If you're not going to pay Poro's money, spend the 25 million and get Dumfries. Inter are hurting right now. I don't understand why we're not just rating them. I don't. There's so many quality players that we could use in so many positions that we need filled. And we should be taking advantage of that. As horrible as it is, that's just business, though, isn't it? You've got your rival company against you is slowly starting to slip downhill, and they're going down. Well, you're not going to give them a lifeline. You're going to take as much as you can from them, right? So I think that's what we should be doing. This is where we need to be ruthless, and these are the situations that present themselves that we can take advantage of. And I don't know why we're not doing it. That to me is frustrating, especially when you know Conte knows a lot of the players from there, and he'll bring them in and get a tune out of them, and they can effectively make our team better. And for marginal fees, we're not talking about going out and throwing 100 million on each player, right? So you go in there and you could sweep a good chunk of that team out and significantly improve ours for 100 million.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, what's your score prediction tomorrow?
Oh, this is an easy one, boys. Richie is starting. Danjuma is starting. Oh, by the way, guys, sorry. There's over 700 of you in here. 143 likes. Come on.
Pitiful.
Come on. What's the button? 8:40 in the morning here. It's like 2 p.m. by. You guys should have had your afternoon tea. You've had your lunch and everything. It's a button. Just push it. It's free. Helps the boys out. You know, and it makes me look good if the likes go up. So, you know, oh, actually, shit, wait, they might not like me, so they might not hit it. Oh, scratch that last statement out. Yeah, get the boys up here. I want to see it. I'd like to see a blowout, obviously, because it really pained me going to the NLD and not getting to see a goal and see the fans just react. That's the one thing I really, really wanted. But I'm going to go with a nice, comfortable 3-1. Actually, no. I'm going to go with Emerson's, return to this super fantastic form and the fact that he's turned into the Brazilian brick wall back there. 3-0, baby.
Love it.
Nothing gets by that back line.
Absolutely love it. Bobby, we'll see what happens over the next 4 days. Hopefully we can get another couple of players in, but we'll have to see what happens. But thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on, boys. Bobby. Always a pleasure. God bless you. Have a great day. Come on, you Spurs.
And to come on, you Spurs. Big up. I think that is all we have today. So predicted lineup and potentially a Tottenham update if anything does break coming your way later today, as well as Stellini's press conference. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.